I just want to say before we get into the video, some of these videos are very concerning. This video does contain people talking about their past childhood traumas, things like SA kidnapping, and more. If you get triggered from things like that, I don't advise you watch this video.
Hey, I'm Cece. I brought the bowl, and when I was 16, my doctor molested me, and I ended up stalking him afterwards because I thought he was the only man that would ever like me. And I followed his kids, his older kids, on Instagram, and they requested me back, and I found his phone number and his wife's information, all that stuff, through voter registries, and I brought the bowl. Okay.
Hey, I'm Dada, and when I was 16, I ran away to New York, and when I was fresh off the bus, Port Authority detained me, and apparently the resource officer at my school told them I ran away to go join ISIS. So while I was detained, they questioned me about my political beliefs, and I brought the tropical Sour Patch Kids.
Hey, I'm Cece, and I brought the sour belts, the rainbow sour belts, and when I was 16, I ended up going to the mental hospital because I tried to and I ended up telling the people at the mental hospital about some issues I was having at home, and I got DSS involved, and my caseworker would announce every time before she would do a house visit, and my family would, you know, like stock the fridge, stock the pantry, and clean the whole house just for my caseworker.
Hi, I'm Dada, and when I was 10, I was homeschooled, and I was having a hard time with long division, and my teacher got so upset with me that he threw a chair at me and then smashed their hands on the table that went with it so hard that it broke. And then he told me not to tell anybody because, yeah. And I brought the Mike and Ike Berry Glass.
When I was around 21, my family kicked me out because I refused to get a job because I was severely depressed. And I ended up having to move into a homeless shelter, which I stayed in for 1.5 years. And if you look at some of my old TikTok videos, you can see me filming in the shelter. I would do my makeup every day. I would put on cute outfits just to feel good about myself. And my family would not let me back in until I got a job. And I brought the Nerd Gummy Clusters. Okay.
So I'm Dada, and when I finally went to public school and middle school, I got outed about a month in, and I was like at this small, like conservative southern school, and I was bullied relentlessly for the next 3 years until I had to switch schools. And I brought the lemonade dots.
When I was around in like 7th, 8th grade, I think 8th grade, my first kiss and childhood friend who I was very close with died of childhood cancer. And she had a whole funeral and like a wake and stuff, and there was a memorial at my school, and no one thought to invite me. They invited all her other friends but me, and I didn't know how to feel at the time, and I just coped by myself. And I brought the strawberry candy.
My name is Catherine, and one time I had a threesome and my ex made me eat my best friend's cooch, and I brought the Sour Punch Bites Blue Raspberry. My name's Audra, and when I was 6 years old, my sister pushed me off the side of a bench, cracked my head open, and then thought she killed me, so she started apologizing for every bad thing she's ever done to me. And I brought Sour Patch Kids. My name is Catherine, and when I was 20, I had a 4-month-long situationship with a 20-year-old man who, within the first 10 minutes, told me, if you like big dick, I'm not the guy. And I brought the Sour Sketty. My name is Audra, and my boyfriend of 3 years cheated on me with a girl who had almost the exact same name as me, and the same name as my grandmother, who I was named after. And I brought the Swedish Fish. My name is Catherine, and one time I was paid $350 by a 38-year-old man to have a threesome with him and his friend, and I brought the Nerds Gummy Clusters. My name's Audra, and when I freshly turned 16, I went out grocery shopping for the first time by myself, and an old man walked up to me in the parking lot, and I was wearing an Obey shirt, and he said, I bet your husband likes when you wear that shirt, because you obey him. And I brought Unicornalicious. My name is Catherine, and when I was 14, my dad made my mom meet up with him for the first time since their divorce to tell her that he had heard that I was giving multiple hand jobs to multiple boys around town. And I brought the Airhead Extremes. My name is Audra, and when I was little, my sister closed my head in the car window and laughed as I stopped breathing, and I brought the Lifesaver Gummies. My name is Catherine, and freshman year of college, I was in class and I accidentally wore see-through leggings, and I got an email from someone called isawthatcrack@gmail.com saying no panties, huh? And I brought the Sour Crawlers Fruit Punch. My name is Audra, and when I was in 5th grade, my dog ran away, and I went out looking for her only to find her being choked out and slammed her head into the ground by my neighbor. And I brought the Sour Gummy Bears. My name is Catherine, and when my family walked into my grandmother's open casket wake, my dad said she looks better dead than she ever did alive. And I brought the Sour Bursting Crawlers. My name is Audra, and every time I went over to my dad's house, my stepmom would make me practice math in my workbook, and then after I would go up to my room and write letters about how much I hated her. And a few years ago, she found them and then displayed them on my bed for me to find when I came over. And I brought Sour Patch Kids Watermelon. My name is Catherine, and one time I was hooking up with a guy and my phone kept ringing, so he threw it against the wall and broke it. So I went to find a 24-hour Apple store, and on the way I really had to shit. So I went to Central Park, took my underwear off, and then wiped with it and threw it in a bush. And I brought the Sour Punch Sweet Bites. My name is Audra, and when I found out my boyfriend was cheating on me, I confronted him about it, and he started sobbing and throwing up in his toilet, so his sister had to come put a cold cloth on the back of his neck and calm him down, and I brought gummy bears. My name is Catherine, and when I was a minor working at McDonald's, a grown man that I worked with asked if he could pick me up from prom and beat up my hoo-ha, and I brought the fruit-shaped jellies. My name is Audra, and my first memory is eating dinner with my family, and my mom and dad start fighting, and my mom runs to her room crying, and I follow after her, and then I hear the front door slam and my dad leaving. And I brought the Sour Bright Crawlers.
My name is Brianna. One time, my mom tried to kill my brother and I in a car crash on purpose. I brought the bowl.
What? Okay. Hi, my name's Chu. One time when I was 10, my dad locked me in the car for 3 days whilst my mom was in Morocco and refused to feed me. I pissed myself in the car and passed out for 28 hours. And I brought the antidepressants.
One time, I went on a botched Tinder date, and the dude that was supposed to take me on the date left the room while his friend raped me and his friends watched. I brought the trazodone.
You good?
Yeah.
Hi, my name's Chu. After I came back to Japan after the pandemic, I ran into the guy that SA'd me, and he asked me why I ghosted him and punched me outside Kamogawa. And I brought the birth control.
Yeah.
After I was SA'd by the last thing that I just told you about, I thought I could tell my mom because I thought she was cool. She listened to me tell my story and then didn't say anything and then left the room and called her best friend and said everything that I just told her and called her best friend over. So I had to repeat the same story to both of them. I brought the Trintalex.
Hi, my name's Chu, and when I was 9, my dad tried to push me out a window because I threatened to tell my mom that he was hiding drugs in my bedroom, and I brought the cigarettes.
Okay, let's see. One time I went over to a friend's house with my mom and my brother, and there was like a domestic violence situation happening, and they were literally punching each other in the face on the ground, like rolling around, and I was crying and scared, and my mom was like, no, they're just play fighting. I brought my Nintendo Switch.
No, not the drinking.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah. Hi, my name's Chu, and on the day of my mother's funeral, my dad called me 5 times threatening to kill himself, and then when I told him to do a backflip and died, he told my grandparents to sue me, and I brought the Kitsune drink ticket.
Purr.
Okay. Okay. One time we were living in a Section 8 apartment and we got kicked out because my mom didn't pay rent even though it was literally a Section 8 apartment. And then we had to live with my grandmother who was also racist and called me and my brother, who are darker skinned, racial slurs like almost every day. I brought the, what is this? Kitsune drink ticket.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. My name is Shu. When I was in high school and I told my therapist I got SA'd, he said, "That's unfortunate, but I understand because I'm a sweet piece of ass." And I brought the coca.
Hi, I'm Carol, and my dad beat my mom in the shower, causing her to take her 3 kids and leave, and I brought the bowl.
Hi, I'm Hannah, and I gave my ex $400 to help pay for his insurance, and he didn't pay me back, and then he cheated on me, and I brought the peach rings.
Hi, I'm Greta, and when I was 8, my mom got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and I brought the nerd clusters.
Hi, I'm Carol, and when I was 7 years old, I was sent to Alaska to visit my dad for the summer. 2 days in, he abandoned me to go fishing, and I haven't seen him since. And he's currently in jail for drinking and driving, and I brought the Skittles.
I'm Hannah, and one time when I was on break at work, this guy followed me out and kept telling me how beautiful I was. And when I told him I was a minor, he said that nobody had to know, and then he kept persisting, and I kept saying no, and then he told me he'd come back for me in a few months, and I brought the high shoes.
Hi, I'm Greta, and my mom is dead, and I brought the sweet tart ropes.
Hi, I'm Carol, and in the same summer that my father abandoned me, my aunt, who was on crack, had a boyfriend who was also on crack, and he wouldn't let me bathe unless he was in the room watching me, and I brought Jolly Ranchers.
Hi, I'm Hannah, and one time when I was at work again, this creepy old man came and told me that if I wasn't happy with my boyfriend, that he would take me out back and I could give him a BJ, as if that would make my life better. And I brought the nerd clusters also.
Hi, I'm Greta, and when I was 9 years old, I watched my puppy get run over by the mailman, and when I went to see if she was okay, I saw her eyeball that had come outside of her skull, and I brought the Sour Punch Bites.
Hi, I'm Carol, and when I was in 1st grade, I was raped by my brother's friend in my own motorhome, and the police did nothing about it, and I brought mini muffins.
Hi, I'm Greta, and when I was in junior high, the girl that I thought was my best friend was actually just using me to get close to my brother. And when she started dating him, she stopped being friends with me, and I had no other friends. And I brought the muffins.
Those aren't muffins.
Hashtag trauma bonded.
Because all of our boyfriends cheated on us with the same girl.
That was supposed to be our friend.
But at least we have a candy salad. Healthy queen.
We're so healthy.
I'm Libby, and me and my twin got separated at birth, and I tried to kill her and went to jail for 6 months. And I brought mini Starburst.
Hi, my name is Ella, and I found out my boyfriend was my first cousin at a family reunion. I brought Nerds Clusters.
Hi, my name is Chloe. Me and my twin were separated at birth. 15 years later, she came back to try and kill me. She went to jail for 6 months, and I brought Swedish Fish.
Hi, my name is Anna, and I punched my tennis coach, and I broke my hand, and I brought Gushers.
Hi, my name is Lil, and Callum kidnapped me out of my front yard, and I brought the Airhead Extreme Bites.
Hi, my name is Emily, and I survived the cannibals' Donner Party of 1.
Blue raspberry.
And I brought Sour Punch straws.
Hi, my name is Tandy, and when I moved in, my neighbor was dead for 3 months, and these are Charlie eggs.
My name is Amy, and I was giving a talk in church and I fainted, and then when I woke up, my clothes were gone. And I brought all my candy from my store.
I'm Anika, and my ex choked me while I was sleeping.
My name is Bryn. I got shot in the stomach once, and I brought Trolley Sour Bite Brawlers.
Hi, I'm Jessie. One of my exes got hit by a bus and died, and the other died in a plane crash. And I brought the Airhead Extremes.
My name is Summer, and I had a one-night stand with a guy, and I went to work the next morning, and he was my boss, and I brought Nerds gummies.
My name's Anika, and I was at a dinner party, and my ex started screaming at me, "You killed our baby," because I got an abortion, and I brought Sour Patch
Okay. My name's Bryn, and my ex hit me up and told me that I have 2 kids that I don't know about, and I brought twin snakes.
Hi, I'm Jessie, and when I was very pregnant, my ex was driving very carelessly, and I flew through the window. And when we got to the hospital, everyone was singing. And I brought gummy berries.
I was at work and I got called on scene of a serious medical emergency because of a huge disaster, and I tried drowning myself instead of helping any of the patients, and I saw my mom and my dead dog. And I brought trolley crawlers.
Hi, my name is Tyla, and when I was a teenager I had severe depression, and when I told my mom, she told me that black people don't get depressed. And I brought the Skittles.
Hi, my name's Sydney, and I financially supported my ex-boyfriend who I thought had cancer. Turns out he didn't have cancer and he stole a bunch of money from me. And I brought these Sour Patch Kids watermelon.
Hi, my name is Tyla, and when I first started talking to my first boyfriend in high school, I would hang out with one of my friends and she would help me text him. Once we broke up, she started dating him and now they're married. And I brought the Sour Patch Kids. I'm really happy for them though.
Hi, my name's Sydney, and I made a GoFundMe for my boyfriend who I thought had cancer, raised about $6,000. All of my friends and family donated to it. Turns out he was lying about the cancer, I found out after we broke up, and I don't know where the money went. I think he used it to pay off his court fees because he was a felon. And I brought the mini Starburst.
I donated to that GoFundMe. Hi, my name is Tyla, and a guy that I call my ex but never actually dated just because he's been around for 10 years recently messaged me that he thinks about me all the time with explicit details, and when I checked his profile I found out that his girlfriend was 38 weeks pregnant. And I brought the nerds.
Hi, my name's Sydney, and a friend of mine unalived herself on my couch, and I brought the sleep-tight ropes.
Hi, my name is Tyla, and when my parents got divorced, my dad had another kid, and about 4 years ago, that kid messaged me on Instagram. He's about 14 years old now, and told me he thinks I'm his sister, and I met him for the first time 3 weeks ago, and I brought the Airheads Extreme.
Hi, my name's Sydney, and my first real experience with death was a manager at my job that I was close with, randomly from a head injury, and the manager that they sent to replace him had the same name as him, and they sent him like the day after. And I brought the the Smurfs.
Hi, my name is Tyla, and in high school a girl accused me of hooking up with her boyfriend when we were actually just best friends and hung out all the time, and she yelled at me for 10 minutes straight in front of our entire theater class, and we never spoke again until our friend's funeral recently, where we just hugged each other and cried because our friend died. And I brought the cotton candy sour straws.
Hi, my name's Sydney, and I did ballet growing up, and when I got my first period, I didn't know how tampons work, so I thought that you just stuck the whole thing up there, like plastic applicator and everything. So in dance class, I would just be really uncomfortable and it would leak. And then I found out like a few months later that you're actually supposed to use the applicator to insert it. And I brought the Sweet Tarts Mini Chewy.
It's our trauma bowl. What's up? My name is Kai. My mom passed away from breast cancer when I was 13, and I bought the Golden Bears. I don't know how to say this name.
Hi, I'm Jamie. When I was 3, my 3 older brothers started RAPING-ing me until 11, and I bought Sour Dudes, Sour Belts.
What's up? My name is Kai. My dad doesn't claim me, and I bought the Skittle gummies.
So, I forgot how old I was. I think I was like 5, but my brother took a butcher knife to right here, and it had to get glued back. And I bought Butterfingers.
What's up? My name is Kai, and I bought Kit Kat Minis. I got cheated on by the same girl 3 times. That's what you get for being a dumbass.
I'm Janie. When I was a teenager, my dad decided that he was going to try and take me to court for child pornography when he took my nudity pictures out of my phone and sent them to himself. And I brought Double Bubble Blue Raspberry.
What's up? My name is Kai. I bought the High True Fantasy Mix. When I was younger, I don't know what I did to my sister, but she got me back when I was asleep and hit me in the head with a can opener. So I was a dent in the middle of my head.
Hi, I'm Janie. Starting at the age of 11, my father put me into several mental hospitals because he thought I was quote-unquote crazy. All because he used to beat the shit out of me and then expect me to be cool with him. I brought Jolly Ranchers.
What's up? My name is Kai. I bought the trolley sour bite crawlers, and when I was younger, I watched my mom get abused by certain siblings' father. There's 9 of us, so.
Hi, I'm Janie. When I was 18, my mother brought my rapist brothers over for my birthday, and then got mad when I went off on one of them and tried to shove a pill down my throat. I brought airheads.
What's up? My name's Kai. I bought the Sour Patch Kids Blue Raspberry. When my mom passed away, my other sibling's father found out. He came to where I stay now and tried to snatch up my siblings, and it's 9 of us all together, and we got splitting up, so I haven't seen most of them. So yeah, don't we just love fathers?
Hi, I'm Janie. When I used to stay with my father, my stepmother noticed I was in an autistic episode, dragged me out the bathroom, and sat on my neck. I brought Rice Krispie treats.